Shalom. We'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Urkach Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta, and I've got this Times of India article pulled up. Came out December 8th, 2025. This is leaked memo reveals FBI plot to track millions as potential extremists. See who makes the list. And this is coming out because this devil is about to go forth with persecution. As it says, he shall come down with great wrath, seeing that he hath but a short time. He can see his time is short, and he can see that through the exposure that he's getting with this devil being the so-called white man, including those tiny toppers that are in the Lord's land, calling themselves the Lord's people. Those are the Edomites, the biblical Edomites, also known as the devil, which devil goes into deceiver, and they have lied about everything, starting with so quote-unquote white Jesus, to the name of the Lord, to who his true people are, to who they are, to history, religion, science, everything. They've lied about everything. They've stolen everything through their colonizing and their lies there. They're just thieves and liars, and they're coming to their end. They're being exposed. People are starting to understand that these are the Edomites. Maybe not on that level, but they can tell that these people are not right. They can tell that these people are not the Lord's people. And they could just see that the earth is out of course as well. Our food is poison, and you look up and you see who's ruling us, and it's these Edomites. And people are getting tired of it. But the devil's not just going to step aside and move out of the way. He's going to come down with persecution. And so he's going to persecute the men of the Lord's prophets out here that are out exposing him, because that's who he sees as his problem. But he's not going to do it head on, because he's the devil. So they're going to go in a roundabout way, and this is one of those ways that they're going to try to persecute the Lord's men. And so moving into this, it says investigative journalist Kenneth Klippenstein revealed a leaked Justice Department memo that instructs FBI to begin compiling a list of American individuals and groups who can become potential domestic extremists. And I think I can still say that word without getting this video taken down, so we will see. It says the document was reportedly signed by Attorney General Pam Bondi. It has a sweeping plan to identify, track, and investigate citizens based on political and ideological indicators rather than specific acts of violence. And so this is sounding very similar to that Palantir. I'll have to look and see if these two overlap at all, but I feel like I've read about something very similar to this. And it really just sounds like pre-crime, like from that Tom Cruise movie. Sounds like they're trying to get people before they've done anything. And really they're aiming at the prophets first and foremost. That's who they want to get. It says, according to the memo, the FBI is ordered to compile a list of groups or entities engaging in acts that may constitute DT. We'll just leave it at that. That will get my the video taken down. But you know, that big scary T word that they don't like you saying. It says the criteria almost perfectly align with President Nero's directive, National Security Presidential Memorandum 7, which the memo says it aims to implement. Who could be placed on the FBI watch list? The memo explicitly lists categories of people who may be referred for federal scrutiny. According to its wording, individuals or groups may be flagged if they display any of the following: opposition to law and immigration enforcement, Extreme views in favor of mass migration and open borders, so targeting liberals as well. Says adherence to radical gender ideology. So this more leftist aimed at anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity. All these could be aimed at the prophets. Since the document also sets out behavior or associations that could trigger an investigation. Conduct that may constitute DT, that big scary T word again, under internal definitions, connections to leadership figures in targeted groups, mentions or reports submitted through an expanded FBI tip line so people can turn you in for this to happen. It says any activity linked to incidents from the past 5 years that match memo indicators, actions that result in referral to a joint big T word task force, association with networks identified through all available investigative tools. Furthermore, the memo instructs the FBI to create a cash reward system for information leading to arrests. And this could get, that can bring in a lot of people. People will be very willing to turn in the prophets. And this is where, as the Lord said, he's going to turn the daughter against the mother-in-law and the son against the father-in-law. This could involve your family turning you in for knowing what you do, for going out to the highways and byways, and for watching and listening to the lessons. They could turn you in. That's why they have this cash reward system. Or shoot, your neighbor that just saw you walking with a sign to your car or something like that, saw a fringe hanging out of your backpack. Could be any of these things, but we're coming into that time of persecution. The directive cites the killing of conservative activists and MAGA ally C.K. Calvin Klein as a turning point and orders task forces to map networks inside and outside the U.S. The revelations come amid growing concern about NSPM 7 and the possibility of new domestic counter big T word framework that could place millions of Americans under suspicion for their political beliefs, according to Kenneth Klippenstein. What is NSPM? So getting to the meat. This National Security Presidential Memorandum 7 is a directive signed by President Nero that sets out broad criteria for identifying domestic extremist threats inside the U.S., inside Babylon the Great. It focuses heavily on ideological indicators rather than violent acts, raising concerns that the policy could blur the line between dissent and that big T word. And so they want to punish you for your thoughts, these thought crimes. It says, who is Kenneth Klippenstein? Kenneth Klippenstein is an American investigative journalist known for publishing leaked government documents and exposing internal law enforcement practices. He has worked with The Intercept, The Nation, and The Young Turks, and his reporting often focuses on national security, surveillance, and governmental accountability. And you can see from that last name there, he is one of those tiny tops that are in the Lord's land calling themselves the Lord's people. So even with that, you should still be weary of this information. Sounds like he leaked this, so take it with a grain of salt. But we do know that persecution is a part of prophecy. It's Luke 21 and verse 12. It says, but before all these, so before the end comes, before that great tribulation comes, it says they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. So this is going to happen. They're coming up with reasons right now that NSPM 7 It's one of the reasons that they could bring us into their synagogues and into their prisons. They're going to come down with that great wrath, but the Lord's going to checkmate them once they do. They're at their end. And this is one of the ways that they will be told about what's about to happen to them. This will be in an official setting, and the Lord's going to take over for you, as it says here. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. So the Lord's going to put his words into our mouths. Whoever's mouth this may be, he's going to put the Spirit on them to give them to deliver a message for him, which angel goes into messenger. And the Lord has a big message for this world, that it's on its way out, that these Edomites are coming out of power, that they have done extremely wrong, especially to the Lord's true people, the Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as are scattered, and that they've got to pay for it, that they are about to pay for it. That's why their society is collapsing. That's why their precious Babylon's about to be nuked. And that's why they're going to go into an awful slavery, and then they're going to be taken off of this earth, their whole lineage, all of them. And so you can only imagine what will be said is going to cut them straight through the heart, like that, like the book itself. But let's keep going. Because they're going to make their move, and the Lord is going to make a move after them. This article was posted into our chat, and the brother Kashakwala was going into how, yes, persecution is coming, but that means miracles are coming, because the Lord said he would be with us to the ends of the earth. And we are at the ends of the earth, and we are at the end of this man's time. And so we should be expecting miracles, just like in the book of Acts. We should be expecting miracles to deliver us out of this situation, especially with the biggest miracle being the return of Yahweh Shai coming back and fully delivering us out of this situation. But this devil is going to make a move, and the Lord is going to make his move. This is Isaiah 59 and 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the enemy is primarily led by Esau, Edom, so-called white people and those tiny tops. It says, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, they're going to come down with great wrath. They're going to be like madmen, spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. It says, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. So they're going to make a move, and then the Lord is going to make a move. Really, even the Lord made the move of flooding his hopeful elect with the knowledge and understanding, with the truth. He made that move, and it's gotten to the point where Esau has to make a counter move, and then once they make their counter, coming in like a flood, then the Lord is going to lift that standard. It's really, I just want to say it that way, because everything starts with the Lord, with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And he gave us his truth. He watered us with those living waters. And so this devil is going to come in like a flood to try to flood out those waters, but it's just not going to work. This is their end, and we should be on the lookout for that standard. We should be on the lookout for the miracles that are going to come and for the deliverance. which is going to come because we are at the end. So, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.